All right, so how many people participated in the Digital Services Outlook survey? How many of you? Great, thank you so much. This was the third year we've done it, and so we're starting to see some trends. You've heard me say it before, we're also working with Promethean. Nick and Megan are here. So they were fabulous to work with. And what I'm gonna do today is actually walk through some of our predictions from January of 2018 and see how we did based on the research we had before. First, I want to talk about a little thing called the Bureau effect. So last January, when we published our predictions, the 12 trends we thought we'd see, somebody reached out to me and they said, you know, you shouldn't call this state of the industry because you're talking to people in the Bureau community. You're talking to people who have made a decision to help each other. They are sharing what's working and sharing what's not, and that is not going on in the entire industry. So more than likely, the people in the Bureau are doing better. And I said, I am fine with that. So welcome to the Bureau effect. You're all part of it. There you go. And I would love to find a way, if we can figure out with the rest of the industry how they're doing, so we can just give them the big old raspberry. You know, good luck, pals. All right, so that's the Bureau effect. Let's take a look at who responded. So this is the size of the companies that responded. 47% were in the 10 to 25 full-time employee range. We had 170 companies total, roughly, that responded. And that was about a 30% increase from the last survey, so that was great. And you can see we've also got what we're calling studios, less than 10 employees, about 27%. And then we've got 16% in that 26 to 50 range and about 10% in the larger than 50 range. That feels fairly representative of the Bureau overall when I went in to try to take a look. Now what's interesting is the age of these companies. 62% are over 10 years old. So the size, when you see it, is probably a decision, right? Or it's where things ended up. I don't think it's so much about the youth of the companies or anything like that. And then when you look at it, we got 92% are over 5 years old. So this is pretty interesting to me. I would not have bet on that when we were going. So let's take a look at the predictions. So the first one was that growth will continue. We saw growth coming out of 2017, revenue growth and profit growth, and we were right. Growth did continue. In fact, for large companies, those over 50, over 30% increase in revenue. And it kind of just went down the line. But everybody saw an increase in revenue that participated over the year, over 2018. Now, when you do research, you sometimes find things and you're like, what? What does that mean? And what I'm about to show you is one of those things. But it's also something we're going to dig into more, and we think we know a little bit about why we're seeing the result we're seeing. Generalist shops revenue grew 30% faster than specialized shops. Now, we've been talking all weekend about specialists. That's the way to go. And I still think it is. The thing is, when you go back and look at the shops that grew the most, it's the large over 50 shops. That includes shops over 100, 150, 250. We have those in the community. Those shops offer more services. So that's going to skew it up. The nice thing is with the data we have, we're going to spend time and go in more and find out what does it mean for the medium, the small, the studio in terms of being a specialist versus generalist. The other thing is specialists are slightly more profitable. So even though generalists saw the revenue bump, they're not necessarily getting to make more or as much more as the specialists. Profits will continue to increase. Right. Y'all can shout if you want. You don't have to. It's cool. Right. Okay. So if you look at the profit margins for the different sizes, again, large companies saw the biggest increase in profit. And then you go to the shops that were smaller than 10. They were second. I think it's interesting to look at the medium shops, right? The 26 to 50, because this is normally a time of struggle. We've talked about it a lot in the community over the past several years. Kelly Goto talked about it a lot. When you're in that range, Things of how you used to work start to fall apart. It could be systems, it could be process. You have some people that have been with you for a long time that get disillusioned because they don't know what's happening with the company, and those original people who were the core start to leave. So a lot of people say you have to get past 50 as fast as you can, unless you have really good systems in place, unless you're preparing for that growth. We thought fewer shops would respond to RFPs in 2018. Boy, were we wrong. So wrong. Shops who respond to RFPs increased 20%. Now, what's interesting about this to me is in 2016, roughly 75% of shops surveyed responded to RFPs. They didn't like it. Like in some of the comments, they were like, we have to, right? But then when you look at last year, it dropped down to 53%. It was over a 20% drop. And I was like, okay, maybe this is where it's going, because I don't like RFPs, right? But it turns out that that's not what happened. They actually bounced back up. So there's some anomaly. And one of the interesting things I was talking with Nick about is maybe this is some sort of a leading indicator of where things are from a work perspective. Is it in 2016 that a lot of RFPs were won and a lot of work was won? And in 2017, that work was being done, so there wasn't as much stuff being chased, right? And then in 2018, we needed the work again, so we go back out, and we're doing that. The other thing that's interesting is companies that do respond to RFPs grew 33% faster than those that don't. That's also really interesting. What is the mindset there? What is the choice there? Or is it just that you are going after work on purpose versus seeing what's coming in? Retainers will be preferred, but value-based gains traction. Right. So in 2016, it was basically the preferred pricing models were retainer, and then fixed bid, and then time and materials, and then value-based. And then in 2017, it went retainer, and then time and materials, and then value-based, and then fixed bid. And last year, value-based went past time and materials. Now, this doesn't mean this was exclusively how people were pricing. It was what they said was an optimal model for them. And firms that offered value-based pricing grew significantly faster than those that didn't. Again, it's shops that offered it. It's not necessarily that that's how they were going to be estimating and billing everything. I think this is interesting because also if you listen to what Rob will say, or even what Blair was saying, it's a mindset. So there is a value-based hour. It could be, even if you're doing fixed bid, you're thinking more about what you need to capture because of the value you're bringing. So I think this says a lot with why that revenue would go up. You are just thinking in that way, no matter what model you decide to follow. There'll be a continued shift to research and strategy. That was correct. And digital strategy has made the move from number 4 in terms of highest revenue generating services to number 2. If you think about the Squarespaces and the Wix and a lot of the work we used to do that's kind of been cut off the bottom, or the automation of a lot of SEO and SEM and the artificial intelligence, this can say a lot about that. But web design and development still far and away is number 1 and doesn't look like it's going anywhere soon. And then you've also got UX design and strategy in the 3rd spot. It was down in the 4th spot last year. So 2018 will be a good year. Well, it seems to have been, right? Everybody that reported had a good year in 2018, even though we had those sky is falling moments, even though we had times where we didn't know what just happened and everything's going to go on pause. By the end of the year, most people had reported in 2017 that everything was good. And now, with 2019, everybody's looking optimistic. Now, we do have a lot of conversation. You'll hear people chatter about the potential of a recession. But when you look at the research, it really doesn't seem to play out right now. And as I said, Promethean's got more stuff that they've done, more research, which also indicates it's probably not coming, at least not soon. But man, does it get talked about a lot. So this is really interesting. All shops pretty much felt this way. Now, there are going to be some key challenges, and I think this makes a lot of sense. Attracting and retaining qualified talent, right? Projects are getting bigger and taking longer. That's the nature of doing strategy and then implementing versus just doing something that might be more marketing oriented. And you need the right talent to be with you for a longer period of time. There's an increased trend in people who are doing more along the lines of growing their own talent, right? You have a lot of apprenticeship programs that are coming up. You have a lot of people on teams that are getting trained to do other roles because they were great in the company, but we need to leverage somebody, we need somebody who can do this. Managing cash flow and growth, always a struggle. And really when you start to look at those shops in the middle, like that 25 to 60 again, they're gonna be going through a lot that they're trying to figure out. And then sales and new business development. It's something we're all trying to figure out. Some people are doing a great job, but what we're doing is constantly changing. So what we need and how we share who we are and the pace with which we're looking is changing as well. Now, this has been put in the Slack channel. And again, thanks to Promethean and Nick. The 2019 Digital Services Outlook report is in there. There's a lot more information. And what's great is we have the ability to answer more questions. We want to go deeper. We want to find out more. We have been asked to do research in a lot of different areas, and we've wanted to. Now, for us, before we started working with Promethean, we don't really have the expertise. So I can put together questions, and I can try to read a book and figure all that out. But when I started working with Nick, I was like, oh man, you're awesome. You're so good at this. So we do have some more research planned. And this ties into Bureau membership. So 3 years ago, we launched the first phase of Bureau membership, and that was the Founders Club. And again, I thank all of the members of the Founders Club that are in here. Now we're launching membership again. We're gonna open it up. And what we're doing is we've got 3 levels of access. The first one we call Learn, and this is the easiest level to access. We have a resource library that we have been keeping for probably about 2.5 years now. Every month, we look at the tools, the articles, the talks, everything the community is talking about, and we capture it. And we've got it in a form that is easy to search. You can look at tags, you can do all this kind of stuff. So that's gonna be one part. And then all of the online events will be available for the people with the Learn membership at no cost. That'll be part of the membership. The second level of membership is called Contribute. And Contribute means you want to be at events. So there'll be special pricing for events for those who are doing Contribute. And also deeper access to research. We have a lot more information on the survey, and we want to make it available to those of you who want it. And by having that membership, it'll help us be able to dedicate the time to do that. Now, quickly on that research, the next research we do is going to be the salary survey. It is the most requested, and it is the one that I constantly think the information should be out there. But it's not. People want to understand owner compensation, right? You want to understand what are the right level of benefits, how should it be structured. People want to understand more about different roles along different timelines, all kinds of stuff. Then we're going to do a benchmarking survey to see where are you in the community at different key KPIs, different analytics that we might want to look at. And finally, and this is the one I'm most excited about, we're going to do a client survey. We're going to ask your clients, with your help, to help us forecast the next year. Where do you see your budgets going? What are the services that you're going to be looking for? What are the challenges you think you're going to hit in the year ahead? It will be blind, nobody will know who the clients are, but that will give us the ability to give you a cheat sheet of what might be coming. So that's pretty exciting. And then the final level we call Lead. This is going to be the companies that want their entire company to have the Bureau experience. So there'll be special pricing for events for the entire company. We're also going to help you as you're looking for certain types of work. There are so many projects that get collaborated on and referred in the Bureau community, through the Slack channels, through emails, through direct requests. We will, at the lead level, find out what you're looking for, and when it comes in, we'll let you know. We're also going to have a concierge level service where when you're trying to find out certain information, we'll help you get that information. And this, I am just so excited to formalize because we haven't really been able to do it in a timely manner. We'll get asked questions, and out of the goodness of our heart, we've been trying to answer them, but by the time we get done, it doesn't quite work. Doing it this way will allow us to get that information back in a timely manner. So super excited about that. And that brings us to thank yous. So first of all, I want to thank all of the speakers. I have to say, I was taking notes. I know that I'm not running a shop anymore. There was so much good stuff. So thanks to all of the speakers. Definitely thanks to John back there, to the AV crew. Appreciate our videographers back there. Always good. I want to thank Lori. Thank you so much. Lori keeps everything running, right? Tara's back there. And also Brett. Brett, who helps with all the programming. Lori with all the logistics. I tell you, if it was up to me, this thing would fall apart. It is so good that they are running everything. I also want to thank all of our sponsors. They gave us an amazing opportunity to do the social in that bar. That was so cool. Also taking care of the food and the coffee and all of those things. So thanks to the sponsors. Appreciate you. And finally, I want to say thanks to you. Thanks to you for being here. By a show of hands, how many people have an idea that they're going to go back and try to implement to help their company? Yeah. And how many people have met somebody here that they're going to lean on when they have a question? Yeah. See, that's it. That's the way it works. And keep the conversations going, right? The Slack channel in a week or two will put you in with the alumni from Owner Summit, from all the owner summits. And you'll also be in a channel with all the owners that have attended before as well. You will be amazed how quickly you have friends that you have not met, right? And they are there to help. They want to help. It happens every day, and it's so much fun to watch. So please, this is not by any means the end. This is totally the beginning. And with that, I just want to thank you so much. And that's it. Owner Summit 5's in the books, everybody.